Dave called me this morning and asked me to come in, so I went in and he told me we're going to make a change, and I said okay, and I wish him nothing but the best of luck. I think there's more talent in that room than the way that we have played, and I hope, for the Middletons and the Bucks and the organization and the fans that they can turn this around and get to the playoffs. I think you understand it better as you go through it more times. And we underperformed, and that falls on me, so this is what happens.
Give Joe Girardi credit. He's got a weekly spot at MLB Network Radio, and he got fired this morning, and he did it. 99% of people would blow that off. He did not, so he gets a lot of credit for that. Todd Zolecki, who, of course, is our pal, who joined us earlier in the week. I'm going to shut up and ask the questions. You knew he was dangling. I'm a little surprised off a win. Maybe they turn it around. It was a nice win the other day against the Giants. But out goes Girardi. Todd, give me your thoughts media-wise in Philadelphia. Let me hear.
Yeah, I was surprised that it happened after they won on Wednesday. But I think in the mind of the organization, they just could not wait any longer. They couldn't risk this team continuing to lose. And personally, Mad Dog, I don't think this is a Joe Girardi issue. I don't think, certainly managers get criticized, right? Moves don't work out. But I don't think the team has been in this free fall because of Joe Girardi. I think there's a lot of other issues. There's the worst defense in baseball. There's a bullpen that hasn't thrown a lot of strikes, that has blown some late leads. There's an offense that this team was really built around that has underperformed. But that said, franchise record payroll close to $240 million, over the luxury tax for the first time in franchise history, an organization that has not made the postseason since 2011. You combine all of those things, somebody had to fall for it to show, to maybe take a chance, maybe get this thing turned around, and it ended up being Joe Girardi.
100%. Let's throw one of the alligators. I don't want to hear the Philly fan, though, say, you know what, hey, it's about time. And I was with him, but the same Philly fan went nuts on Kapler. Get him out, he stinks, blah, blah, blah. Then Kapler goes to San Francisco and becomes John McGraw. So I don't want to sit there and listen to the Phillies fans, but I know they were barking loudly all over the place the last 2 days. Maybe Dombrowski and the owner listened to talk radio. How much of an impact do you think they may have had here? Let's throw one of the alligators and calm them down. Your take on that, Todd?
Yes, certainly. They do hear the talk radio. If they don't listen to it directly, they hear indirectly. They certainly hear the boos from fans at games here at Citizens Bank Park when Joe goes out to the mound. But you are right, so right. They fired Gabe Kapler at the end of the 2019 season. Everybody was like, Gabe, the team collapsed in 2018 at the end, collapsed again at the end of 2019. They're like, it's got to be the manager. It has to be the manager. So they bring in Joe Girardi. It doesn't work out. But now you sit there and you look at it and go, Gabe goes to a different organization that drafts and develops talent better, maybe does better decision-making. All of a sudden, Gabe wins 107 wins last season. I'll go back even further, Mad Dog, and go, Terry Francona, when he left the Phillies in 2000, everybody thought he was not a good manager. What happens when he goes to the Red Sox? He gets a little bit of talent. They go on and he wins a couple World Series with the Red Sox. So it's not the manager. I think the manager is always a crutch. Just like if everything was going well and the hitting was terrible, you fire the hitting coach, right? You fire the pitching coach if the pitching's all of a sudden terrible. These guys always take the blame, but I don't think it's there's a lot more that goes into it. I think a lot of the times it comes down to the talent on the field and the roster as it is constructed.
100% right. And I love Dombrowski. He's won championships, so we can't go too crazy. But let's be honest. He had all offseason to fix his bullpen. Knebel's not a closer. I mean, Familia was a cast-off from the Mets. They couldn't wait to get him out of there. Alvarado can't throw the ball over the plate. They sent him to the minor leagues. Ian Kennedy wasn't the answer last year. He traded for him. Schwarber, he hits the ball out of the ballpark every now and then, yes, but he's a terrible defensive left fielder, and you can't hide him as a DH because Harper's hurt. And Castellanos isn't Roberto Clemente. So, and those are all his acquisitions, so he's got to take a big blame here, too. What's your take on that? Let me hear.
Yeah, certainly when you look at the roster construction, I would say mostly defensively, this is a team. I looked at this just yesterday. Defensively, depends how much stock you want to put in defensive runs saved. But let's just use that as a metric. Since 2012, Phillies have been a bottom 10 defensive team all but one season. So they've been terrible defensively mostly for a decade. I'll go back, though, to Dombrowski. He really inherited a mess. Former President Andy McPhail, he joined this organization in 2015, hired Matt Klentak. At that time, I talked to everybody in baseball said, now that's the job you want to have. They're at the beginning of a rebuild, so they're going to draft all this top talent, top draft picks. They're going to develop it, and then when it comes time to spend, they're going to add around that core that they just drafted, and they are going to take off. But the Phillies botched that rebuild under Andy McPhail beginning in 2015, and Dave Dombrowski really inherited a mess. Bullpen-wise, defensive-wise, offensively, they had nothing in the cupboard in terms of the farm system. So, Dave has tried to do what he's done. But, yeah, you're right, though. It hasn't improved the defense. They thought they could hit their way out of it. And so far they haven't hit, and that's a big thing right now. They got to get this offense going if they're going to have any shot, because the defense is going to be the defense. And they just have to hope that Knebel, like you mentioned, pitches a little better. Familia, they need to get Jose Alvarado back. They just optioned him to AAA. So they have a lot of issues around the board right now.
100%, no question about it. As far as Rob Thompson is concerned, he's been Girardi's right-hand man forever. Yes, he probably deserves a crack. But, boy, I don't like firing managers and making his right-hand man I know they probably have nobody else, but that always drives me crazy. I mean, him and Girardi love each other, so we got to fire Joe. We're going to hire his best friend to be the interim guy. I hate when teams do that, and they did that here in Philadelphia. Take there. Let me hear.
Well, what's going to be interesting to me, the one question I would like to know is, because how similar are they, right? Joe just said on the MLB Network radio, I owe a lot of my wins for the work that Rob Thompson did behind the scenes with the Yankees and the Phillies. Now, I want to go back to last Tuesday, that game in Atlanta, when Bryce Harper hits a home run in the ninth inning, go-ahead home run up Kenley Jansen, and they stole that game. That should have been a game that they stole and won. Bottom of the ninth inning, Nick Nelson comes out to pitch a second inning instead of Corey Knebel. Knebel didn't pitch because he had pitched 2 days in a row. Joe does not pitch guys 3 days in a row, especially early in the season. I would like to know if Rob Thompson would have done something differently there. Would Rob have said, you know what, after Harper's home run, we got to win that game? I know that Knebel's velo was down in the second appearance. I'm putting him out there 3 days in a row because that is a must-win game.
Interesting.
Maybe he does it. Yeah, maybe he does the same thing as Joe. Maybe not, but to me, that's where the difference comes in. Like if Rob goes, yeah, I would have hit Knebel pitch. I would have had Familia pitch. Sir Anthony Dominguez didn't say he was going to go, but I was said, listen, guy, you got to go out there and pitch that ninth inning. Then maybe you're going to see some differences in how this team is run.
Good job, Todd. Well done. Keep up the good work. Thanks for coming on twice this week. Appreciate some thoughts.
Thank you.